Hey, good morning. Wanted to explain some terms in detail uh, with this slavery tech and the synthetic telepathy, remote neural monitoring, voice to skull, electromagnetic frequency, terrorism, uh, a satanic topper. Anything in my mind with voice to skull, outside in the media, on the street, anywhere, anything that pretends to be or takes on airs or acts as if or even has had the goat balls to try and say that it was my God, um, that's called a satanic top. So they really never had God, they just invented Satan. And for simple people who aren't dumb, maybe some of the easiest ways to explain it is that it's like uh, you know, military and intelligence agencies, crimes against creation, with technology putting voices in your head. Uh, they would only fake that it was like Jesus or the Buddha or something else, but it was really always just Satanism. So, yeah, they never had God, so they invented Satan instead. It just pretends it's Jesus or something like that. So that's a satanic talk. Everything that's ever been in my life, particularly the last 14 years, with this voice to skull, the gang stalking, the federal contract on my head. All of it is Satan. Yep. A satanic misdirect of praise and blame. So I've been doing some disclosing, and have been really productive, like for writing and things like that, uh, for the last 14 years. So all of that was like all of my intellectual copyright stuff is stolen, and then at the same time they'll like uh, take my intellectual copyrights like while I'm asleep allegedly, and then like pretend to be me at night or something. Like I don't know the whole picture. I'm asleep, uh, but they're misdirecting what normally would be ascribed to a single individual for like intellectual copyright law and stuff, and you know stuff I say, do, and can offer and whatnot. So they'll misdirect that to somebody else. Like every once in a while, like a U.S. president will repeat something that I had previously written, uh, a satanic misdirect, and then and mimicry. That's also satanic mimicry, um, and then I get misdirected like the shit that was going on already. Like they've been trying to do a satanic misdirect of like Bloody Gina's entire Project Mockingbird. It's like somehow like my problem, or like I had anything to do with that. I don't. I think it should be a congressional investigation. Those kids shouldn't even be born. But it's, fairly standard. Unfortunately, it's been so effective for those disgusting degenerates that they have a CIA project for child sex, slavery, blackmail, assassin. Like, it's. And the thing that's gross is that it's been successful enough that they actually have a program for that. It's disgusting. But yeah, so satanic misdirected blame of like all the just disgusting shit that's been going on in the world, anyways, and the channeling I've done from unnamed sources. So that's an example of a satanic misdirected praise and blame. Like all of my work is stolen as a TI, and then they take credit for themselves and try to. It's a solution looking for a problem. They're trying to justify what they've already done with these community policing and Stasi tactics. So they take all my work and then they try to blame me for what they're doing anyways. Counter Darkness has a good analysis from more of the inside view of the intelligence community, and they've been routinely doing this to me for like 2 years, but bearing false witness and blaming me for what they really do. And they're never going to be able to complete this huge streak. I have yet to even really get technical with IT security and things like that. But satanic topping, satanic mimicry, that's been a huge problem. Nano thieves, they can take my thought itself and then call it their own work. Satanic mimicry, satanic misdirects, satanic toppers, satanic pride, satanic suggesters and repeaters. Very few words. Um, I had them 12 years clandestine, from the U.S. federal Satan before the psychological operations went live, and gang stalkers were using satanic repeaters and suggesters in public. Had 12 years prior experience to enduring things like, the hells of repeating things and other torture, but those are really, really pretty bad, particularly long-term exposure to that particular type of Satanism. So where am I? So we got satanic repeaters, suggesters, toppers, mimics, misdirects, pride, satanic interrupts, casting of dispersions, cointelpro Satanism, gang stalking, breaking and entering, like miking and otherwise Lance Burtoning and Chris Angeling for Satan, the room. They can get really technical and deceptive with the way that they set up stuff that you wouldn't notice in a home for electromagnetic frequency bullshit, or just another extra, or ELF, um, extra low frequency emanation like in your room, just to try and drive you crazy. Even more, if I've forgotten any part of their Satanism, I'll try and bring that up again so people know what they're doing. Any voice in their head, no matter if they're calling themselves the God of the Jew, or Jesus, or Buddha, or Allah or whatnot, any voice in their head, Satanism, no matter what they fucking call themselves. I was targeted in grad school for over 10 years. I just thought this was mental illness. I was deathly afraid of ever considering even reproducing, because I thought it was my DNA that I had, like, schizophrenia. No, it's much more diabolical than that. My DNA is actually fairly decent and remarkable in certain areas. I'm a master of everything. No, my DNA's fine. They just make it look bad. Like, and they have trillions in some Satanism for, like, Bloody Gina's MK Ultra programs and Project Monarch and all that shit. They've spent like millions over these last 2 years. Psychological operation destroyed my life 14 years ago. It was cheaper to ruin my life than let me be successful in trying to help out higher ed finance for Christian purposes. No, it's all Satanism. It was back in grad school. It was gang stalking then. The pride of the youth. Holy, unholy shit is really what that is. And then the greed of the elder class, like expressed as a nearly 40-year-old in 2018. Anyways, yeah, it was gang stalking then, NSA acknowledgement of surveillance then, Satanic Project Mockingbird then, and then I started hearing voices. I'm not the first person to ever be driven crazy by the federal government, and the U.S. isn't the first country to do that to political dissidents or folks in general. It's everything but God. It's like some asshole on an RNM connection from his cell phone. Some seasoned TIs talk about voices being artificial intelligence. I mean, it's been going on for 14 years. Oh, Bardo attacks, like in the morning, that slice of time that you have that some people are sometimes conscious of in between asleep and awake is similar to the frame of mind soon after death, or a Bardo. I've had Bardo assaults like every morning for 14 years, and for over 10 years I thought it was just mental illness, taking medications that were poison that they knew would never work, funnel money into the psychiatric community and pharmacology community for meds that would never work. Yeah, it's pretty rough, the life of a targeted individual. These voices are no angels, and I was a public service focused guy anyways, and there's nothing worse in an analogy than the deep state and something like bloodline leadership. They say leadership, or leaders are born, and I used to say you could always refine it, you could always become a better leader. No, there's a cap. The deep state will find you, they will nano you, they will torture you throughout the day and your life to keep you preoccupied with their sin, Satanism, and pleasure in your pain. Yeah, I was it. They've set up the old town that I'm in. You know, gang stalkers here and there. I went to show up to some talk therapy visit, and they had some honeypot type attractive female. She could have been a fucking hologram, like bounced off the satellite, not a real person from some of the shit that I've been dealing with. But of course, she was. They sent in a youthful, around my demographic, maybe attractive for Satan. That was in few words while I was just in there for talk therapy, talking about being high on RNM or somehow trying to push this same plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. The See You Next Tuesday was ready and waiting there at the visit that I showed up to, like a talk therapy bullshit. They just rat them through the psychiatric community and keep them busy. But yeah, this has never been just in my head. And some of these hollow form manifestations, may not be real, but they really can kill. So watch out for few word speak on really complex stuff. They're trying to deceive them. Billy and his mom has been replaced by reptilian shapeshifters. That's all they do. Their modus operandi is deceiving the human. Um, yeah, we had a false flag, circular reddish see-through ship of light above the house the other day. The gangs of stalkers monitoring all of the piped in garbage, just garbage in, garbage out on all the communication systems. Like, I can't turn on Flippy Floppy without um, something hovering over the scrolling video that would pass on Twitter, just with the off chance that I would be in line of sight to do lip reading because I have the sound turned off because I don't want to be brainwashed. But no, they have a lot of money invested in covering these lies and standard gang stalker tactics. I'm becoming a little bit more aware. Um, Kevin Christian out of Atlanta on Twitter. You could Google RNM in his name or Voice is Full or EMF. He's been able to get his communications out. He's had at times had hundreds of different accounts. They weren't able to destroy a number of his video recordings, and I highly recommend them. That's not dissimilar to what I've been dealing with here in Oregon. In fact, the gang of stalkers that attacked me in 2013, I think basically just sold my body uh, for electromagnetic frequency rape. Um, and I think they're kind of doing that to everybody. Um, a lot, and it must be so humiliating, but in a joyous way for the gang stalker types that pop into. I guess it's a problem for Hollywood and stuff like that, but it's it's rape and murder. The two highest offenses that you can get in normal justice. But it must be such a devilish chuckle for him when Keisha shows up in the fucking news and said last night or last week she had sex with a ghost, and really it was some 14-year-old punk from his mom's basement in New Jersey who threw on some headgear and had remote monitoring and made an electromagnetic um, emanation of himself in his bedroom and said he was Jesus, and then plugged her in the vajayjay. But it was, then and that's what thinks it's God. So watch Kevin Christian out of Atlanta's reporting and who's talking to him in his head and degrading him and all that Satanism. And it's not dissimilar to my case at all. It's that disgusting. I'm a one percenter in certain intellectual and academic areas, early infected intelligentsia, but um, they're taking out a lot of different folks. The hive mind homeless in Bellingham, Washington was painful. Portland is so weird in no good ways. Like, everybody's silent and wearing black. I can recall on one day walking through Portland, the experiments that the guy out of Seattle, out of like the Blackwater, black budget end of it, who jumped ship. He talking about experiments on the whole city of Seattle, like it may have already basically happened also in Portland. And I mean, this is the military, it's the intelligence communities, it's all these different social institutions, trillions in sunk Satanism, millions in psychological operations to Zoom streaming for whistleblowing, everybody getting paid off, like, you know, people around me getting switched out with shapeshifters, nobody being straight. Um, you had to be so fucking clever, like the whole time. If it is a second copy, and I can't prove that. Like, it would be designed to deal with all this stuff and the um, cover-ups and things like that. It does require some modicum of faith, and I don't have any. Um, but yeah, so long story short, they never had God, so they invented Satan instead. Uh, Same plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. The Pleiades reportedly has reptilian there. That's us, also. Earthlings. We've just migrated. Uh, the Andromeda system, who Alex Collier is the expert on them. He like flips out in interviews about how bad the human form is treated on Earth and how we actually all come from rather royal stock of humanoid mammal form in general. And he gets so pissed off about how bad we're treated as a species on Earth. Yeah, Google Alex Collier, but I hear they don't get in your head there. So if you rose up to, fifth, sixth, seventh density or whatnot, and swam over there, kept your eye on the star system, hung out, and, it wouldn't be hell on Earth like it is here. So, and there's so much more life and love and godness above the fourth grade, and by that I mean the fourth dimension, the fourth plane. I was briefed of the reptilian invasion in 2013. Time is no barrier to them. Off-planet criminal, spiritual slavery tech, some of the worst crime in existence. Um, I really think that Bush and his dad are both mammals full time. They just replaced them for moments and stuff like that. They've done that to my mortal father, my mortal mom. They've done that to my aunt. They've done that to Billy and his mom at separate times. And I'm like a 2-year-old to them. I don't even know where the real human goes. Suspended animation. One of them maybe said to me like, there's still a lot of the deception stuff I don't know, but yeah, I totally forgive Bushies. Like, he was set up to be my adversary for this. No, what is anti-Christ? What is anti-Christian? What is anti-good? Even past the demands and structures and suckiness of being a king of the earth. Like, sometimes those people have to send people to war. May not be the most Christian ideal thing, but shit happens. But yeah, no, I forget the Bush clan family. Pretty bipartisan, is more of a wonk than anything political. But what's still in Redmond secretly and on this property, and in the walls and the EMFing and coming through all the communication systems, which is garbage in, garbage out, like that should never be forgiven. It's broken so many parts of the Ten Commandments, the Constitution, war crimes, basic human rights, and stuff like that, that it really should get rid of. Punishments that last, but that would rely on information that information that I channeled is correct. And I just want you all to be sure to have a plan B and get out the Swiss cheese holes. Same plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. Take care. Um, yeah, yeah. Again, so summing it up, they never had. I mean, these are CIA projects and NSA Nazism bullshit. Like, they really, really, really never had God, so they invented Satan instead. The synthetic telepathy is some of the worst crime in existence.